This is part 5 of the Lands Remaining playtest. So, normally at this time we would resolve any prompts that for stoking the fire from the previous session, as well as any other outstanding narrative prompts. And in this case, we just have one from Old Smoke. Old Smoke, will you read that part of your move and then do what it says?
Just let me pull the move up here.
I can read it. I've got it handy. It says, "This is for the move, but the Miku walk freely." It says you can make yourself preternaturally small, flat, or quiet in order to avoid detection. When you take this move, please narrate a flashback showing a montage of your crystal door training. What seemingly impregnable place did you have to infiltrate as part of your final test?
So I think the flashback, Old Smoke remembers way, 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 way back in the moments where his master of the crystal door had him imprisoned in not even the dungeons of the king's palace, but the sub-dungeons, the dark sink where political prisoners, those who would be erased from memory, would be put, where no light was to be seen again, literally locked away, down deep beneath even the prisons, in a small cage just large enough to encompass his body. His task was to claim the king's crown, get it out of the castle and bring it back to the tower of the crystal door. And it took him almost a week to contort, to dislocate his shoulders, his limbs, to be able to insert himself through the tiny inch-wide openings of his bars, and then recontort his bones so that he could slowly crawl his way through the shadows of the dark sink until he was just outside the door that they would open to drop food below to the prisoners, and only then slowly pull himself up as quiet as a mouse through the darkened shadows, and over the course of a week made his way from shadow to shadow, shrinking his body and his organs as he wasted away with no food or water, inserting himself from shadow to chink in stone until finally he was able to make it into the palace itself. And then from there, insert himself into the uniform of one of the king's soldiers, make his way to the king's chamber itself, and in the dark of night, amongst the flickering torches of the old fire, remove the crown. And from there, outside of the walls of the palace, in the darkness of the night, to barely make it down, hands scaling, nearly dead from exhaustion, dehydration, but to make it back to the crystal door tower and to put into the hands of his master the king's crown. And when the king's guard sent up an alarm to find that the crown had been removed from the tower and come to the great spy master to ask for his help in finding it, he was able to present it to them and draw up a list of all the men at arms and guards who would have to be put to death for such a lax security in the king's palace. And I think that's what Old Smoke remembers in the moment, a glorious triumph.
Fantastic, thank you. Let's keep going with start of session. I'm going to recap the mystery now. So, elegy is resolved, but I will note that you do still have to answer the other question, which is opening the Morning Tower. And because you have not done that, you can leave the Bouldering Court and take the Pale Crossing back to elegy in order to do that whenever you want, or to go get more clues even. I'll also remind you, because that question is still open, any clue you find can be applied to that as instead of where you found it. But the mystery that you're all currently at is the Moldering Court. We're trying to figure out what is the nature or the story of the Putrescent Queen's lost love, Lady Kenduin's lost love, because you're basically going to use that story as a mask to get close to her in order to, well, we'll see, to deal with her in whatever way you have to deal with her. Provokes a struggle in any case. You have, for that, 5 clues. This pristine blue handkerchief found in a ruined castle, a scrap of parchment naming a fey courtship rite stained with bloom rot. We have this ring that was discarded by Lady Kenduin, wrought gold with a cluster of emeralds on the front, a fragment of a love poem etched in the courtyard beneath a rose, and then 2 butterflies pinned together on a thorn, their wings still beating faintly. So you've made good progress. 5 clues on a complexity 8 question. Continuing with our our startup session here. So let's take a look at conditions, and then I'm also going to ask if any of you have any particular moves or scenes you'd like to have with, kind of as we get started, or even just like at some point in the session. And so I'm going to start in order of the character keeper and go with Shelf. Shelf, you have Periwinkle's quest. You are meant to go find a cure for the bloom rot to help poor Periwinkle, who is a rot gaunt. You also have the mycelial network. You have been enmeshed with both rot-based twinks, and so the muck gave you this like strange mushroom that you consumed, and you are now connected to the mycelial network, and you have those 2 conditions as a result. Are there any particular moves that you want to fire off, or any scenes you want to have?
I think wants to have some sort of scene with Nicelle. It doesn't much matter to me what the context is for that, though.
Also, do you currently have any summoned members of the Legion with you?
2.
2. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. All right. Old Smoke, you have no conditions, but I am curious if there are any scenes or moves that you want to make sure happen today.
I do want to play more with the idea of Nicelle and Periwinkle and Sir Denebray. Old Smoke is both convinced, I think, that Sir Denebray has lost his discipline and drive and deserves a fate that might help the quest.
Yes,
And
yes.
so sees this as perhaps helping their quest in some way, and also Nacelle.
Yeah, indeed. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, well, Nacelle, you have the Curse of House Durellin. If I remember correctly, this is because you like murdered a Durellin on Elegy.
The
Like,
last Durellin, the
yeah,
very last.
this gruesome ritual that happened. You're also missing some teeth because I think I can't remember who punched you. It might have been Sir
Sir
Denebray.
Kalen.
Oh, Sir
Yeah.
Kalen. Oh, it was Sir Kalen that punched you.
Yes.
Oh, that's right,
while
because
while I was
because
crucifying him,
you
yes.
crucified him. That's right. That's right. He's on the he's in the woods near the castle
Castle
break-in. Yeah. Okay, good. Fantastic. Are there any moves that you want to make sure happen today, or scenes?
If there's an opportunity to go visit Sir Kalen, we have some unfinished business that I would like to attend to.
There will be indeed. Also, if I remember correctly from last time, you had a better roll in hindsight than you did when we were on the recording.
Right,
And so
yes.
you have how many health boxes are on Sir Kalen instead?
So Sir Kalen is just 1. It's Fen that I had misremembered.
Oh, okay,
Because
right.
Fen has the full 6 boxes.
Okay.
I had failed the night move after that.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Gavin the Everlit, you are Herald of the Kindled Heart. That is just that's the big one that you're stuck with for the rest of the campaign, I fear. And you also have a House Durellin thing. You have the burden of House Durellin. You are meant to go bury a Durellin or deal with his body in some way.
Yeah, meant to bury him, I believe, because he's in waxed now
Yeah, you
until
have to
I
take him to his family
go.
crypt or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Fantastic. Do you have any scenes or moves you want to do?
I had a scene with Periwinkle in mind to help Shelf on his quest. I think Gavin would like to try and burn the rot out of him, because
Oh,
that's
okay,
gonna
good.
work.
I have a pretty good. We're in a pretty good setup right now because I have you all at the amphitheater, and it's kind of like a calm moment. So it could be like a good like big group scene opportunity. Maybe get some side characters in there. I have some thoughts, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, let's continue with start of session here. All right. If you wish, you may mark new end of session questions. Does anyone have a start of session move? Okay. And if there are fewer than 3 active mysteries, I will introduce a new mystery. Now, the question, of course, is how do you learn about this? And the game does not make any effort to explain how you might have learned about this. It's kind of up to the keeper in the group. I'm going to say that maybe this is, maybe this is something you heard in the amphitheater. Maybe it's part of Vos of House Oreen's tales, or maybe just in your interactions with some side characters that we didn't see on screen, you learned about this. But in any case, you have a brand new mystery. And it is called The Whitewood. I have entered it into the little character keeper, so you can follow along there if you'd like. Let me go ahead and read this. The Whitewood. When the old fire was merely a spark, and a single red moon hung in the sky, the earliest tribes of men made war with each other in petty attempts at carving their own settlements out of the wilderness. As a second moon appeared in the sky, a grove of strange trees emerged in place of one of the many battlefields scarring the land. Where once there were blood-stained acres littered with hundreds of unburied infantrymen, there now stood towering white birches. In the age of plenty, this place came to be known as the Whitewood, a memorial to the fallen and a reminder of the sacrifices that helped make the age possible. As the dimming shadows snuffed out the old fire, something in the darkness stirred the once slumbering dead from their rest. Rising without nations to claim, these undead soldiers learned to exist in a harmony they were denied in life. Though the dimming shadow retreated and left the lands in disarray, things remained tranquil in the Whitewood for a time. The undead now speak of a strange lodge that recently appeared out of nowhere, floating high above the treetops. Visible only at night, the lodge's design suggests the arrival of a race of beings called Luminaians, not seen since before the Dimning, and bears the crest of their celestial hunting party, the Silvercut Company. More curious, though, is the motive for their return. In recent years, they have snatched up several of the undead to bring back to their lodge. Though the Luminaians have not been seen since before the Dimning, bits of their folklore have remained. Their stories tell of a sleeping beast, the Lumen Prince, whose dreams guide the very orbit of the blue moon. The forthcoming eclipse portends the waking of the prince, whose temperament could leave not only the lands but the very cosmos in ruins. With the eclipse drawing ever closer, and the Silvercut Company still on the hunt, the window to find the means to lull the prince shrinks. You have one question to start. How can the Silvercut Lodge be accessed? It's a complexity 2. The opportunity, gain access to the Silvercut Lodge and the locations therein, and unlock the next question. So you have 2 active mysteries and 3 questions. And here we now have to talk about strategy. Tactics, strategy, it's a little fuzzy. Every mystery has a countdown. I've not yet talked about countdowns. And the countdowns don't proceed at any particular pace. They only get marked in a couple of different ways. As a keeper reaction, I can mark one, or whenever you take journeys. So normally, when you take a journey, every time a journey box gets marked, all the countdowns on every active mystery get marked as well. 1 box. If you split the party and take two different journeys, ergo marking two journey boxes, two countdown boxes get marked on every active mystery. So journeying back to Elegy, journeying between the mysteries, it's an abstraction of travel and time. And every time you do it, the countdowns on all the active mysteries tick away. But there's an exception, an important one. When a mystery is first introduced, you can travel to it, you can journey to it for free and not mark any countdowns, as long as you journey to it before the next mystery is introduced. So as long as it's a new mystery, you can journey to it without marking any boxes. But next week, if you decide to travel to Whitewood, boxes get marked. So that's kind of how that works.
Can I ask, because we can go back to the Morning Tower at any point to answer that question, does that count? Will that increase our timer?
Pale Crossing's your journey, yes.
Okay.
So, and it's one that, like, if you take it, there's no stopping the countdown on that one. Like, they all get marked. So, so that's sort of how that works. So you all have a decision to make in a certain sense, because it's like, okay, are some of us going to stay here? Are we going to get some people over to the Whitewood so that we kind of so we don't have to suffer that penalty? Or do we want to really, really hyper focus on Moldering Court, get it knocked out, and then we all just travel together to the Whitewood next time and we just kind of eat a journey box? You know, that's up to you. Another thing to keep in mind, the strategy deepens. You can make camp on journeys typically safely. Anybody who goes on the journey can make camp or do any other journey-related activities, like visiting Sir Kalen at the tree, right? So a reason why you might want to go on a journey is so that you can safely make camp. But here's the rub. Anytime anyone makes camp, it forces a make camp on the whole group, no matter where they're at. And so if two members go on the journey and make camp, the other two who don't go will also have to make camp pretty soon at the Moldering Court. But the problem with the make camps at the Moldering Court or any other mystery is they are dangerous. They are not safe make camps. So there's a bit of intricate planning that has to go on here, and you have to think a little bit about, like, who needs to clear a condition, who has a thing they want to do on the journey, like visiting a sacrificial tree, who where are we at on our countdowns? You can check the countdowns on the character keeper. Where are things at? Because if whatever decisions we make kind of affects the whole group. And so keep that in mind as well. I think that here at the Sunken Amphitheater, it's, despite the fact that I described a very, like, peaceful moment. I mean, someone spoke to you. I imagined it was the Putrescent Queen kind of telepathically speaking to you, and maybe that didn't even happen. Maybe that's just something we imagined. I don't know. But in any case, it's a pretty, I don't want to say safe place, but it makes sense for you all to maybe, like, hunker down there. It's nighttime. So if you wanted to do a big group make camp and get the advantages of make camp as a group while you're all together, it's a dangerous make camp, but you could do it. At least you're all together. And do that, or you can hold off on that, have some people travel on the journey and do make camp, which will eventually force the rest of the group to make camp anyway. Those are just things to keep in mind. So, does anyone have any questions about any of this? I don't think it's hard, but it's a thing to kind of, you can't just willy-nilly make decisions here. You have to kind of, I mean, I suppose you could just focus on what makes best sense for the story, and that'll probably be okay too. But later in the campaign, that could be pretty dangerous, right? So
here's a question, Jason. If two of us, for instance, go off on the journey to the Whitewood to both start the adventure but also counteract any kind of negative clock penalty,
right.
The other two could join the Whitewood at no penalty?
No. They will eventually, if they want to go to the Whitewood, they got to make a journey to the Whitewood. And making journeys in itself is not like a big deal. It's only if someone makes a journey and makes camp. If you make camp, it forces a make camp on the whole group, right? And so no matter where you're at, you got to make camp wherever you're at. So we assume in the fiction that the characters are always resting, always sleeping, always taking care of themselves. But the make camp ones are like the big drama ones, right? So that's those are the ones we focus on, right?
For example,
You
if
can go on a journey and not make camp.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Ah, okay.
I was going to say, so for example, if we all made camp in the amphitheater as to your recommendation, and then two of us decide to go off on the Whitewood journey, and two stay in the Mouldering Court, and let's say those two are able to complete the Mouldering Court in this session, could they still join the other two who've already left on the Whitewood journey before the end of session?
If there's time and they make the journey, sure. That can be a little tough though. And also keep in mind, you're forced into a struggle as soon as you answer this question for the putrescent queen. And if you're not all there, only the ones who are there get to do the struggle, right?
Get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, that's another like consideration because if you move back from the Whitewood to like help out with the putrescent queen, countdowns get marked. So it's a whole thing, right? It's a whole strategic thing. It's probably as strategic as the game gets, really, in terms of like
It's a very
timing.
cool element because it introduces a whole new layer of complexity that I don't think I was anticipating anyway.
Yeah, it's a thing, yeah. And for keepers who are watching this, future keepers, it is very paramount that you inflict conditions on the embers because otherwise none of this stuff means anything. You have got to inflict conditions on the embers, so hit them hard. All right. Yeah.
I have one last question. You said until a new one is introduced, so does it cap at 3 mysteries?
It caps at 3. Yes.
So the third one
The
you
third one's
have
kind of a freebie. Yeah.
yeah, you kind of have a
Yeah.
freebie if you want to focus on the
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that was one question. My other question is, um, does your character need to be present when solving the mystery to like get the rewards? Like, is that another thing to keep in mind?
Not
Like,
the
oh, we're
rewards,
almost solving
only
it. I should.
no.
Yeah.
Basically, only struggles. Like if a struggle is triggered,
Okay.
whoever only the people who are there do it. It's very like in time and space. Rewards. The assumption is maybe you all like meet up at some point and pass stuff out or whatever, right? But I mean, we don't dwell on it. But it's everyone's entitled to rewards no matter
Yeah.
what. So
One of the kennel bears moves immediately became way better.
is that
I
is
was
the camp
looking
one?
at it. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, I guess that's fine. And I
Yep.
was like, oh, okay, no, I get it. It's
Yeah.
great. It's good.
Why don't we take a 5-minute break so you all can think about and ponder this? And I need to take a bio break anyway, and so we'll come back and then we will decide what we're doing. Okay. But I'm gonna say as an option, if you want to make camp in the amphitheater, you can. So that'll be a thing, or we can just have an extended scene there without make camp. But I'll leave that up to you. So. Okay, I've stepped back into a lively conversation about what we're going to be doing next, and so maybe just we'll keep our powder dry for now, and let's just focus on the scene that we're in right now. Do you all want to try to make camp at the amphitheater, or are you just content to keep going?
I am content to keep going. We'll make camp later. That's my stance.
Agreed.
Okay. So you've heard this oratory from Vos of House Orine. Maybe you've been kind of like chit-chatting with, there might be a few like kind of peaceable rock gaunts, kind of like periwinkle around that, maybe you learn about the Whitewood and you've got kind of all this stuff going on. It's a beautiful evening. It's still muggy and hot, but less so with the twin moons in the sky instead of the sun. Let's just go around the table. Nizelle, what are you doing?
Well, I have a question for Old Smoke. Can I see you right now? Because you were staying in the shadows during the oratory.
I'm not using any abilities to hide in the shadows. So if you look for me, you can.
Okay, yes. Nizelle is looking for Old Smoke.
We can have that scene if we want.
Okay. I'm not used to people treating me the way that you did.
What way was that?
Well, I'm used to people calling me a witch and then trying to kill me. So
You may have been seen as a witch in times past, but now you are an ember. Our quests are joined.
Do you think the rest of the group would have such an enlightened opinion?
If they are true to their purpose, to end the dimming, then yes. And if not, then they should be cast aside.
You believe that's the purpose of the embers, is to end the dimming?
It has been my sole purpose for centuries.
She's gonna.
Where are you all at
Correspond to that.
currently?
The back of the amphitheater?
Okay, good. So like a little kind of a private space, like kind of away from things. It's probably a little. It's darker there. In the amphitheater, they've lit lanterns and candles, and so, but you still benefit from a little bit of moonlight.
And fireflies. I think we described fireflies.
Yeah, yeah, and
Right.
fireflies, and interesting, interesting. I need to take a quick look at my notes, if you don't mind. I need to be reminded of something. Let's hold that thought for now. Let me check in on Shelf. Shelf, what are you up to?
Shelf is going to speak to the orator.
Oh, Vos of House Oreen. I'll remind you that he's got this kind of golden torque over his faded silks, and you just like he's just like hanging out on stage, kind of sitting up there.
Yeah, Shelf just takes one big step onto the stage, and says, "My compliments to your exceptional skill at storytelling. It was beautiful, the performance. Do you keep some sort of record of these performances, or is it summoned from the depths of your soul?"
Ah, thank you. And then he like says, "Sorry, I'm used to doing stage voice. Thank you for your kind words, sir. I am Vos of House Oreen. How shall I call you?"
Shelf is fine.
Shelf. Well, there is a certain power in humble origins and names, though something tells me that there's something kind of fundamentally not humble about you, sir. Something beneath the surface. But my mother always told me I spend too much time trying to read people. I think it's a helpful skill, though, when you do what I do. You have to be able to sense where the crowd is going, what people are feeling, when to move the emotional wave, manipulate it, twist it. If the crowd is restless, well, you must bring them into focus. If someone's heart is full of sadness, you must find a way to use your words to bring them joy. I was just happy to have an audience again. It's been so long.
There is much sadness in this place. You are well needed here. When you saw me, you said that Shelf, it seems to you, humble. What would you expect my title to be?
Well, that's pretty good. You could make the information move here with presence. Let me take a look at your conditions. You are... I don't think anything applies here, so go ahead. I don't think it'll be with presence, though. Yeah.
All right. That would be a 5.
I have 5. I have a thought here. That thought is presaged with someone entering the amphitheater, shouting, "There you are, scoundrel!" But let's cut over to Gavin. Gavin, where are you at right now?
If Periwinkle is here, I would like to go talk to Periwinkle. If not, I think I'm just sort of like going around lighting the candles, basking in the
Periwinkle
light.
is here. Periwinkle finds you. He runs up to you, still quite naked, his body covered in this sort of fractal bloom rot. He says, I can't remember if have you met him before? I can't recall. Have you talked to him?
Like very shortly, like he was talking to
You saw him
Shelf,
talking
that
to
oath
Shelf.
was
Yeah,
made,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
Gavin was like, okay,
Yeah.
Shelf, come with me now, yeah.
He kind of just runs up to whoever he can find, and that just happens to be you, I think. And he says, something terrible has happened, I'm afraid.
What has happened?
I I I told Sir Denebray, my he who owns one half of my heart. I told him about Sir Shelf's quest to aid me. And now he is angry. He thinks that he has a competitor for my love. I think he intends to to cleave Sir Shelf with his lion blade.
Has he not asked you if indeed there was a competitor?
Well, even if he had, how shall I answer it? I don't consider myself a liar, unless it suits me. And I don't, well, the truth is, I think I'm in love with two people. What am I to do? You have to help me. You have to use your candles to help light my way out of this dark, dark place I've found myself in.
I think Gavin gives him a small smile and say, it seems you have a bit of a habit to make your problem someone else's problem. But it is all right. That is what I am for. And I will go and make sure that Shelf doesn't get his ass kicked.
Very good, very good. We'll come back to this. Nizelle and Old Smoke. Is there anything else you want to do in the scene?
I think we would be quite distracted by this thing that's happening lower in the amphitheater.
Yeah, I think you might hear that. And who reacts first?
I think I'm probably more attuned to anything that could
Just
be
anything.
possible threat, so shouting and threats of swordplay.
You're also like you hate Sir Denebray, so there's also that too.
I don't know if Old Smoke rises to hate. It's he has a distaste for anyone whose discipline is so lax that he just finds them a waste.
He's kind of the opposite of you in many ways too. Like the diametric, like he's completely diametrically different from you, right, in almost every way. So if it's okay, I'm going to say that Old Smoke, you take off and leave Nizelle.
Sure.
I hear some crackling. I don't know what that is, but
Sorry, that's my keyboard.
that's your keyboard. Okay, sorry. Nizelle, you might hear this commotion up in the front, and Old Smoke slips off. And that's when you hear from behind you, I thought he'd never leave. And you hear just a little faint, a little chime of a bell. Ding. And standing before you is a man who has a funerary mask of wax molded to his face. And he's wearing a high-collared black coat with buttons, silver buttons that look like rosary beads going all the way down the edge. And he says, "Let me introduce myself. Sorry, I'm looking at my name. I am called the Final Mercy. I am a member of the Black Cortege, and you are an abomination that I must destroy. Do you have any last-minute words you would like to leave with the world before I send you back to your grave, Ember?"
You're not the first to try and kill me, and you won't be the last.
Oh, well, it would seem you and I have a very, very different view of reality in this situation right now. Shall we begin? And he removes a long, thin blade from his coat, and he sets his bell down. He removes his mask. You can see still stuck to his skin bits of the wax. On guard, abomination. And he lunges. What do you do?
I've taken Harrow out,
Okay.
so I'm holding the chain of Harrow, and Harrow's like dangling below. So I'm going to try and feign right, and then throw Harrow slash.
I love it. I think that's great. I think that you are going to roll with vitality. This is going to be the dark move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That I will be wounded to the point where I can't continue the fight.
It is worse than that. You will be dead to the point where you can't continue the fight. You'll be dead again. And he will ring his bell 3 times over your body. If you're ready, roll with vitality.
Yeah, flat roll. Curse of Fasterellen.
I don't think your conditions are going to affect you here. No.
Okay. I have rolled an 8.
Okay. I have to be reminded how the move works, even though it's something I've done probably 10,000 times in my life. On a 79, you do it or hold steady, but there's a complication or cost. I'll describe what it looks like. Okay, I'll come back to you in a moment. So, Shelf, Sir Denebray is striding across the sort of like seating area to try to reach the stage of the amphitheater. Even in the sort of like dim candlelight, his Lion Guard armor is blazing, and he's got his sword out, and he says, "You think you are worthy of his love? Ha! I think not, scoundrel. Arm yourself. Perhaps it is time that you act honorably once in your life."
You dare name me a scoundrel?
I name you
Well,
more than a scoundrel, sir. I name you a brigand of the heart.
ah, a brigand, a highwayman? No. These are the mewlings not of a lion but of a kitten. If you want attention, come, take your place on the stage, performer. Act out a battle.
I am no kitten. But if I were, I would remind you, sir, that a kitten still has claws. And he's ready to fight you. What are you doing in the meantime, Gavrin? And where is Periwinkle in all this?
I think Barrywinkel is getting dragged to this situation because Day cost us and they need to fix this. They're not getting out of this one.
Um, yeah, so I think there's a couple things we can do here. Like Gavrin, you can either try to like stop the fight by interceding, or Shelf, we can go straight to sword blows. It's up to you. As a group, what do we think?
Like, yeah, do you actually wanna stop it? I will gladly engage in the duel.
I want to see at least some part of the duel. fine with that.
We could go to the duel. This will be the uh I think it's the light move. I don't think it's the dark move actually. This
That's
doesn't
the hardest Denebray has been burned yet.
yeah.
Savage.
This doesn't feel like a light move, a dark move situation. So let's take a look at your conditions. Oh, Periwinkle's quest is absolutely going to put you at a disadvantage here. So it is going to be with vitality. What do you do here? Well, depending on what you do, Shelf, what do you do?
So Shelf, I think he's answering Denebray's challenge, and so has stepped aside, and so I imagine them now like on opposite ends of the stage, right, ready, and Shelf, uh, Shelf, will pull out actually the not name taker, but the old stone axe from Old Gore, and will call to Sir Denebray. You waste time out in these swamps, playing pretend, swinging swords at phantoms. But what do you have to show for it? You could not even stick a pig.
Very good. I assume you're going to mark one of these things or mark this thing.
Yeah, I think I will mark etched with the beast's name and burdens on the stone axe.
Very good. That'll put you to at a 2d6 plus vitality. Then go ahead. Actually, what do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Oh yes. So fail. I think that that I really will be humbled. That Sir Denebray will show that he actually could stick a pig and will in fact stick me instead.
Very good.
And okay, that is okay, +2. That is a 10.
Nice. You will have control of the scene and can dispatch with Sir Denebray however you wish. We'll come back to this in a moment. Old Smoke, you haven't gotten there yet. You hear the commotion. You can't help but hear Sir Denebray, right? And as you're kind of making your way over there, you run into someone who you have not met before. It's a woman who is wearing pale green scale mail armor. You can see the color. It looks even more milky in the moonlight, lacquered to a wet leaf sheen, edged with bronze. And she has a helmet, crested and angular, shaped to suggest draconic brows and horns. She has a long spear on her back with a leaf-shaped blade. She says, "You there, scampering about in the dark. I challenge you. What is your name? Declare who you are."
I would have your name first.
"That's not how this works. I am a servant of Noxiliax, the Emerald Nightmare, lord of these lands, and am tasked with keeping its paths and roads and trails safe."
A poor old worm to have servants.
She takes off her spear. "You will regret letting those blasphemous words fall from your tongue."
Indeed, shall I? For I was old when it was but an egg.
And she's kind of like, you can even see in the darkness that she's getting kind of red with anger.
Be above my back the heron spear, long prophesied to be the weapon to slay your master. Draw back, if you know what's for you.
Ho, ho, ho.
Run back to him. Tell him.
No, 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 it was fate that put me in your path. Let it never be said that Lady Verdanth let an ill word be spoken about her lord.
Fate can still draw blood and lead to your demise.
She lunges. This is the dark move. What do you do?
Um, I will I will close my eyes and reach out to concentrate solely on my defenses as she lunges at me, doing my best to stave off any fatal blows.
Interesting. This is the dark move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That she will kill me.
Oh, she's going to kill you, and she's also going to take that spear in particular. This is going to be with, as you've described it, I think it's actually probably composure. Um, yeah, I think it's composure as you've described it. Are you going to try to mark an aspect? Are you going to mark an aspect to get advantage?
Uh, I think so. I think I'm going to I'm going to mark my traveling cloak
Mhm.
and particularly the matte coating that drinks light to make me harder to hit.
Okay, fantastic. Go ahead and roll with composure.
10.
Nice. You will also be able to deal with Lady Verdanth however you wish, and you will no longer be in danger from her, whether you kill her or not. Let's go back to Nacelle of the red canopy. You got a middle, right?
Yes, indeed.
I'll take the fiction. You try to dodge out of the way of his blade, and you do. But he's also accustomed to such tactics, and he manages to land a heavy, like a kick into your ribs, giving you the condition of bruised ribs. You clash for a bit, blade on blade, clang, 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 and eventually, I think what causes him to disengage is that there are rot gaunts in the periphery, in the mangroves, that have been drawn by the noise. And he kind of like pulls his blade back and says, "Another time then." And he disappears into the darkness. What do you do?
I'm going to pull Harrow back in by the chain, rub some of the blood that has gotten onto Harrow's blade off onto my fingers, and then I'm going to press those fingers into the dirt at my feet and say, let's keep an eye on that one. And then I'm going to attempt to leave before any rock gaunts get me.
Indeed, indeed. There are rock gaunts. You'll be aware of it. They're they've they're not all peaceable, right? Some of them are crazy, like the Marquis. Some of them are, kind of like wistful, like Periwinkle. But then there's these that are like in the periphery, and you can see their shining violet eyes, and they almost have like a ravenous quality, I would say. But you can head back to the main amphitheater portion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, Shelf, give me the scene.
So they stand apart at either side of the either side of the stage at the center of the amphitheater, weapons drawn. Sir Denebray charges, blade forward, ready to pierce Shelf's heart, but Shelf brings up and I think actually that Shelf just sort of stands there and readies himself, probably whispers under his breath, stand down to people who no one can see, and as Sir Denebray comes forth, I guess I'd like to describe it that like he does hit Shelf with the initial attack, but he does not he just hits the vow plate. There is like an initial clang as the sword just bounces off of the armor, and then Shelf actually swings the stone axe up and breaks his sword in half, sending with a second resounding clang, and a shower of sparks that just sends the blade flying off into the stands, and proceeds to just muscle forth and, with the flat of the stone axe, smacked Sir Denebray in the side of the head, sending him sprawling onto the stage.
There's a heavy clang of metal. Periwinkle runs to the stage. My beloved! And he runs up there. And he runs past Sir Denebray, straight to Shelf. Gavin, what are you doing right now?
I think Gavin is looking pretty disappointed at Shelf. Because I think Gavin was like, you didn't need to do all that, Shelf. But I think as this is going on, Gavin steps forward. I think there's like a thud of the burning branch and all the fires go like little flashlights for like little flash fires for a second. And then I'll reach out a hand to help Sir Denebray up if he'll take it and say, enough of that.
Yes, yes. I was bested fairly. Well met, sir. And he's looking at you like with whether you want it or not, Periwinkle like kind of like running up and grabbing onto you, Shelf. And he says, it seems you are the victor, and you now have your prize.
Oh, right. Yes,
Periwinkle
it's
says, Sir Denebray, you must know that I did love you. It was always pure, it was always true. And I believed that you would have made a very excellent effort at trying to find a cure for the bloom rot. But Shelf and I, Sir Shelf, our love blazes, Sir Denebray, blazes like the sun. Isn't that right, Shelf?
the duel was really nothing, but I suppose if anyone is going to find a cure for the bloom rot, it might as well be the Legion.
Sir Denebray says, I know when I have been bested, but at least now I will not have any further distractions keeping me away from my quest to seek the throne of the Hidden King. Though I do wonder, after tonight's events, if I am even worthy to sit the throne of the Hidden King. It is hard to say. It is difficult. But you, sir, have proven yourself quite capable at arms. I commend you. Are you perhaps willing to join me in my party to seek the throne? We could fight side by side, knight and squire.
Uh, hmm. Before I answer, Sir Denebray, can I ask if I were to mark a fire to bump this up to a 12 plus, what sort of benefit might I
Oh, sure.
get?
What sort of benefit would you get if you mark it up to 12 plus? I'll give you a clue.
Okay. I uh I think
I'll give you a
I
clue and
think
a
I think
lore
that
clue. How about that?
okay. Okay, yes, I will. I will mark the old fire. And
Make it a little more tantalizing.
we'll say we'll say to Sir Denebray, a squire. Well, That is in the Legion, the distinction between knight and squire is it's minor. I would expect that we could perhaps fight side by side in the future.
Very well. Yes. Well, I believe I will set out on the morrow then to seek the old capital. I suppose that means I don't need this anymore. And he will essentially hand you the clue for the Waldering Court. Maybe it's something. We'll say it's something he found that he was maybe thought was important, but he's decided to leave this place. And let's see what was it that was found. Ah, he hands you a brittle scroll describing a Fey courtship ritual. This is you already have like some. Well, actually, you have a clue that's really similar to this. I'm gonna change it. Instead, he hands you a twisted wine goblet. He says, "It's a strange thing. If you pour water in it," and he takes his little like water skin and pours some water in this goblet. "Give it a swirl, and there, see? And the water has been transmuted into an equal amount of honey. Isn't that a fine thing? Perhaps it's something that, well, perhaps it's something that you and Periwinkle could enjoy together during your betrothal." This is your
Yes.
clue, though. The
Okay,
wine goblet that
so
changes water to honey.
at least Periwinkle isn't calling me a scoundrel.
I'll give you the Lord clue a little later. Let's check in with Old Smoke. Old Smoke, how does this scene resolve with Lady Verdanth?
I think Old Smoke is successful cloaking himself enough so that her strike goes wide and misses him. And at the same time, with shrouded tendrils of his cloak, he's able to pull her in close. And I almost imagine quick succession, sort of a knuckle to the sternum and one in the spine, and she drops like a marionette who's had her strings snapped. She's paralyzed, but she still has her voice. And Old Smoke wants to interrogate her.
Oh, very good. What's the nature of this interrogation?
I want to know everything about the Emerald Nightmare.
Very good, very good. This will be with presence, I think. An information move. Yeah.
8.
She's going to tell you something. She's going to give you information that's a clue for this mystery. Whether she says about Nuxiliacs or not, who knows? But I think what she's really doing is luring you in, because what she's really going to do, Old Smoke won't be aware of it, but what she's really going to do is she's going to slip something in one of the pockets of your cloak that will allow. Oh, like she can't move at all. She's totally paralyzed, like completely paralyzed. Well,
Yes.
I'm going to say, well, it's my, it's you got a mid result. I'm going to say that she is able to move her arm enough to slip something into your cloak, one of your pockets, that will allow the Emerald Knights to find you.
If I stoke the old fire, would I get what I'm looking for from her?
You're never going to be entitled to more than a clue. So,
Could I get closer to the clue that I want? I guess is the question I've got for you.
I mean, we'll see where the scene goes. I mean, she's not without getting a 12. She's not going to reveal anything about Noxiliacs. So,
Okay, so I'm happy to go with the entrapment then. I'll take the middling clue with the entrapment.
yeah. So go ahead and take the condition marked by the Emerald Knights, literally marked by the Emerald Knights. I'll tell you what she tells you here in a moment. Nizelle, you're the only person aware of this sort of like massing rotgons around the amphitheater. What are you doing right now?
Can I see the rest of the group down in the amphitheater?
Yeah, everything's kind of like calm now down there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just try to collect them and leave the amphitheater. It's the intention.
Let's just have the scene with you kind of gathering with everybody.
All right, so I assume I'm going down where Gavrin and Shelf and Periwinkle are because that's the biggest collection of people. Like, I think our welcome in the amphitheater is wearing thin.
Oh, but
Well, chop chop, come on, let's go.
To
Very
where? Where is
I-
it safer?
I don't know. I just had a run-in with someone who tried to kill me. It's been happening a lot recently. Just literally anywhere else would be good. There's a whole army of things that are rotting out there.
and Sir Denebre's already gone. Is that right?
Sir Denebray, not quite yet. He will be leaving in a moment. He's going to tell you his Nox clue here in a moment.
The castle. Let's go to the castle. That seemed very defensible.
To the castle. Very well. If we need a place to hold up, Sir Denebray, do you require lodgings?
Did you have to invite him?
Are you
Polite.
are you speaking of the ruins of Castle Braken, which is a few hours' ride from here?
What other castle would I be speaking of?
Yes. Well, that was the way I was going to go in my journey toward the old capital, so if you're headed that way, I suppose we could all go together. It is defensible.
Then we fight side by side sooner than expected. Excellent. A path through the rot-gaunts we cut.
Periwinkle says, I suppose I shall go too.
Well, quite a party.
Gavin, what are you doing in the meantime during all this?
I think when the Rodgons are mentioned, I think Gavrin looks sad and thoughtful, and I will walk to one of the fires and whisper to it, and I wanna, if possible, because it's kind of adjacent to a move that I don't have, but I want to try, or Gavrin's intent here is to like light up the dark and like scare them away, like light up the fires as a protective something.
Oh, I see. I kind of like. I mean, if you're all going to be like leaving shortly, I don't think we need to do any die
I think
rolls. Yeah.
Gavrin, I won't journey. I think Gavrin wants to stay in the Moldering Court in any
Oh,
case.
okay. Okay. Well, that's in that case. Yes, I think you will probably have to do a die roll to avoid to keep the rock-ons away from you, so that you can continue. I like that very much. Let's. What does this look like? Describe it. I mean, we're not doing the move. We're just going to be doing a dark move, but.
Yeah. I think what it looks like is, yeah, like as I say, like we're in this amphitheater. There's like imagine like torches and lights around. I will walk to one of these fires and I kind of like peer into the shadows where maybe we see like those ravenous eyes, like like lighting up like cat's eyes, I'm almost imagining. And Gavin leans in and like whispers to the fire, very like Gandalf whispering to the moth in like Lord of the Rings. And then I think I will try to coax the fire to yeah make like a circle. Like I'm kind of hoping like animals that they're afraid of like very bright light, very like the fire itself, and then just like the symbolic where in the light, they're in the dark kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. This is going to be. This is going to be the dark move with. What's your one thing that your kindling gate thing? What is that?
To bear the light is to burn, I believe.
I'm gonna make
Yeah,
you
to
roll.
bear
I'm
light
gonna
is
make
to
you roll
burn.
cinder. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
What are you
you.
afraid is gonna happen if you? What are you afraid is gonna happen if you fail?
Um, I'll go for the easy one. I'm not fast enough, and the Rodgon just like zombie tackles me before I talk to this fire.
It's worse than that. I think it's worse than that. I think I think they attack the whole group before the rest of the group can get out of here. Like they're closer than you realize. They're more they're more ready for battle than you realize.
Since I am rolling with Cinder, does my Herald affect me negatively here?
No, but I will let you mark one of those boxes.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Okay, that's still a 7.
Okay. Um, let's just hold that for now. Let me go to this scene with Old Smoke and Lady Verdanth. So you have disabled her. She's kind of like twitching on the ground, right? And you stabilize her enough to get her to speak, right? And she says, "Why don't you go ahead and kill me? There is no dishonor in dying in service to one's lord."
Your service will be met soon enough, but first, I require some information.
I will not tell you anything about Noxiliax.
You will, unless you want to be slowly consumed by rock gaunts and mold.
What? Why are you hostile to Noxiliax anyway? The worm hasn't been seen for centuries.
I get very close to her face, and I'll lift back my veil to reveal the mummified visage that's left of Old Smoke's face.
I am an ember, and I have come to extinguish the dimming. Noxiliax has tried to fill the power of that void and stands in my path. I have a duty.
And she says, You you have it all wrong. You have all of this wrong.
Enlighten me.
It is true that Noxiliax. It is true that our Lord turned to darkness. But they did so because of grief, you see. It started long, long ago, in the time of the old fire, even. The clutches never thrived, you see. Those poor young wormlings hatched, malformed, weak and small, dying within days despite the forest's abundance. The great forest learned to mourn beneath emerald wings, and the great dragon's lair became a place of quiet, repeating loss, rather than the ancient splendor that it ought to be. This was in the time of the old fire, you see, when Noxiliax was friend to the Fae, when Noxiliax was the champion of men. Wouldn't you also be driven to madness if you had to watch your children die over and over and over again? Perhaps perhaps that was the opening that the Dimning needed. Everyone is a victim of the dimning, not just you.
I did not claim to be the sole victim. I have a duty to fulfill. What has Noxiliax done to end the dimning? Nothing. But to be consumed by their own grief. They are just another selfish heart.
I think that's going to be the extent of that, but you will notice that on her cloak, she has affixed, her cloak is affixed with sort of some kind of like draconic emblem of Noxiliax, which you might expect. But she has something else there too. Something that looks like she found it and just like stuck it on the cloak out of convenience sake. But it's another cloak pin shaped like an unfurling rose, and the metal is eaten by rot everywhere except where the pin might have touched skin.
Hmm.
And that
Is
is
it?
your clue.
Have I seen the symbol in Lady Kenduin's court? Um,
There's lots of rose imagery everywhere, so but you could make the easy connection, I think. Yeah. The key part though is that it's rotted everywhere except where it might have touched flesh. So
does she have
and
any value aside from that?
I mean, we don't really concern ourselves with such things in this game, but I think that's probably the most important thing is that pin. You can even take it, and if you take it, she says, I mean, it's just a clue, but she says, uh, that's something I found here just moments ago, in fact. Does it have meaning to you?
No, but it might have meaning to someone else whom I need to speak to.
So you're going to leave me like this? Leave me like this?
I could release you. It is only your nervous system that has been damaged.
I feel despite the way our relationship started, we have since acted honorably toward one another. You, of course, don't know she put a tracking device on you. Use your talents to release me from this, and I shall ease your path with the Emerald Knights whenever I am able.
I have no reason to trust you.
No, you don't. But I am not the last of the Emerald Knights, friend. We patrol these lands for our lord. We are leal, and we are, well, when we get a vivid green hue up in our eyes, we can be most fearsome.
You will owe me a life boon.
And I'll once again use my technique on her sternum and spine and release her from her paralysis.
You can change that condition instead of marked by the Emerald Knights generally to be just by Lady Verdanth.
Okay.
Let's take a 5-minute break. When we come back, we will. Actually, no. Let's keep going because I want to send us on break before the like when we're doing the journey. So let's keep going for just a minute. Gavin, this is going to work. You're going to be able to like keep at least the amphitheater safe from the rot gaunts. That might be the extent of it, though, with this talent that you're using, and so that's the only complication I'm going to put on it. Is you can kind of defend yourself while you're in the amphitheater. The amphitheater will be kind of a safe space for you. Everyone else, are you then heading out to Castle Bragan? Then, Old Smoke, what are you doing? Are you staying here? Or are you going to Castle Bragan?
I was going to stay here. I think we have enough clues to actually resolve the mystery.
You have
We would have to mark some aspects. We have 7 on a complexity 8.
Right. So if we marked an aspect on our
that'd be
We
a
would
flat roll.
roll
Yeah.
flat, and if more aspects are marked, we would start having pluses.
If we want to make a go at that, we can. That's totally fine by me. What's the plan here?
I'm gonna be honest. The breakup of Denebray and Periwinkle threw a wrench in all of my like theorizing about this question. So I've got nothing.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine either way. Like, I'm in a similar state of yeah. If we want to answer, then we're answering. That's good.
Yeah, we have to make a decision because if you all decide to answer the question before you go on the journey, that's really different than answering the question once someone goes on the journey. So, what is the consensus here?
I vote no. I do not have a theory.
I don't either.
I mean, I'm sure I could make up a theory, but it would feel kind of rushed, and I don't want to set a precedent of like
I will say
really rushing the mysteries
I will
just to get like
I
a
will
big
say
box.
you bought yourself a little bit more investigating time here with by lighting the candles, Gavrin, and so I think that is one thing that speaks to kind of keeping going on the Moldering Court a little bit longer. Otherwise, like you did that for no particular reason. Well, not necessarily. I mean, like you'll still get some safety from it, I suppose, but there might be more to learn at the amphitheater. It might become a sort of natural gathering place for side characters like Muck and people like that. So yeah, I'll leave it all up to you. It sounds like maybe we're leaning toward not answering the question yet. In which case, Old Smoke, I go back to you. Are you going on the journey or are you staying here?
Well, I'm staying with Gavin then.
Okay, fantastic. Then Shelf, Nazelle, Sir Tenebrae, Periwinkle, all get ready to go to the ruins, back to the ruins of Castle Bragan. Now, I know why you're going to Castle Bragan. I will say you don't have to. You could choose to go on a different journey and get another journey going, and so that's an option. But it sounds like Azal, you want to go to through Castle Bragan, so we will focus on that one. Let me take a look at my text of Castle Bragan. So every journey has 4 marks on it, right? And you've done the first one already. That was when you talked about how the castle is defensible. The second one is going to be done here. Everyone narrates, even the people who are not on the journey. I am curious, just as a point of housekeeping for myself before we go on break. Nizel and Shelf, do you plan on making camp on the journey?
I would like to.
Yeah, I think we do.
That actually is a pretty good move because it forces Old Smoke and Gavin into a make camp as well. But you at least have a safer place now with your candles lit. So that is a thing. Okay, then let's put the two of you in journey, and let's talk about the next part of Castle Bragan. I'll clip the text of this and pop it in Discord for you all. I don't know if you have access to it otherwise. All right. The second prompt says, in turn, narrate a flashback to the time of the old fire. As the knights and soldiers of Castle Bragan stare down from the parapets at an army of Malgaunt at their door. What about these wretched servants of the Dimning make them terrifying? Why do the men and women of Castle Bragan think this may be their last stand? And so, as you can see, each time you go to Castle Bragan, you learn a little bit more of the story of the fate of Castle Bragan. You're all going to narrate that. We're going to take a 10-minute break so you can think about what you're going to talk about. Make it good. Give me some good Malgaunt terror. And I'll see you in 10. The ruins of Castle Bragan. In turn, please narrate a flashback to the time of the old fire, as the knights and soldiers of Castle Bragan stare down from the parapets at an army of Malgaunt at their door. What about these wretched servants of the Dimning make them terrifying? Why do the men and women of Castle Bragan think this may be their last stand? Whoever wants to begin, please do.
Malkin looks down from the ramparts. He looses an arrow on fire that perfectly hits this little bonfires that are strategically placed. They were hoping that fire would slow them down, if at least for a little while. Beside him, Ingaret chuckles and says, "Oh, look at them. They move like animals." Malkin stares into the distance. The Rotgaunt are not really deterred by the fire, not a lot. They're moving over each other, they're crashing through it. And he says, "No." Malgown, sorry. The Malgowns are moving, like crashing over each other into the fire. And Malkin looks and says, "No. No, even animals have to stop sometimes. They move like rot."
I think the Maligant that are assembled outside of the walls, for every one that falls to arrow and ballista, there's a scream heard inside the castle walls. And in the shadows and through the mirrors come the worst fears of those who've held up against the siege for this long. That the walls were never meant to hold them back, and the forces assembled outside are more of an illusion to give these poor defenders the last remnants of hope that will build their fear that the Dimning feeds on, as their worst, horrifying, unbelievable terrors emerge through every shadow and mirror to consume them inside their own castle.
The Malgaunt hordes that inevitably huddle and push up against the walls, even when they cannot get inside. The way that they push and pull against each other, they end up almost sort of habitually scraping their long limbs and hands across the walls. And their skin, it is the texture like sandpaper and wears at the stone. The knights do not fear that the Malgaunts will break through the walls this way, but that the marks of ownership, the banners and even the etchings carved into the rock will fade and no one will remember them.
As the siege continues and we have them pressing in against the walls, just right there, right close, coming in from the inside, pouring through these mirrors, they are close enough at a certain point that you can hear them. And they don't have distinguishable features. There's this twist of flesh. They barely look humanoid, but the voices that they speak with are familiar. And it's not the voices of the dead. That would be better because there would be a certainty. It's the voices of the missing, the ones that were unaccounted for when everyone retreated back to the walls of the castle. And we see one knight as one of these things is mounting the walls, go to strike a blow, and he hears, "Daddy, It's so cold. And you just see the will to fight drain out of the knights as they hear this, because what is there left to fight for?
Fantastic. Thank you all. Nizel, Shelf, you are at the ruins of Castle Vragen. You know, whether you know these stories or not is beside the point. We all know the stories. But you might see some evidence, some trace remainders of the Malgaunts that stormed these walls. But that was so many centuries ago. There's no danger now. Who even knows if there are still Malgaunts in the world? Periwinkle, he's very excited, even though it's like kind of late at night at this point, and you had to kind of travel a couple of hours to get here. He's delighted to be away from to be away from the Moldering Court, to be away from the other Rockgaunts who he can't stand, to you know, he thinks set out on a quest to cure his bloom rot, and he's even like going out of his way to make your camp like particularly comfortable. Like he wants to be helpful. Um, let's do a quick paint the scene, everyone. In what way does Periwinkle attempt to make the camp more comfortable, and how is it obvious that he's not accustomed to this kind of work?
I think there's some places where like vines and plant life have like grown over bits of the walls, and he's trying to sort of like push them into a bouquet shape, like just kind of like pushing the flowers together, and they're just falling apart just entirely.
Because that's the most important thing right now, obviously.
Right. Gotta be well decorated.
He's taking the imagine I'm imagining that we have some sort of like tents or tarps of some sort, that he's taking, that he does not. It's like he doesn't understand what it's supposed to be, or he doesn't care, and he's trying to use instead of using the poles to pitch the tent, he's trying to use them to make a hammock.
I think there's maybe like a log or some debris, and he's trying to like make it a little bit more like comfortable to sit on, or like maybe like for shelf to put the shelf on. But it's like also very clear that he thinks the dirt is kind of gross and he doesn't want to be touching it. So he's kind of like doing it like with his shoe, or he's like trying to find something to push the dirt because he doesn't actually want to be doing any manual labor because ew.
I think he's rather taken with one of the tapestries that are still intact in the castle, seeing a great feast that's laid out for nobles. And in a vain attempt to replicate something that he believes to be the height of hospitality, he finds mismatched dishes and old broken chalices and goblets and bits of what might be food, but of course he doesn't eat what the living eat. So it's mostly lichen and mushroom and other bits of detritus that he fills plates with, and very excitedly invites everyone to dinner.
Let's do another. Let's do another paint the scene. This time, I want to know about Sir Denebrae. And my question is this: despite his pomposity, the Lion Guard were like excellent like warriors and soldiers, and they traveled through the lands in their day. What do you see in Sir Denebrae's actions that shows he's very skilled at making camp and setting watch and doing all the things one needs to do in order to make sure the group is safe.
I think whenever Periwinkle is finished with one of his subpar additions, I think when he's doing something else, Denebray comes in and like actually makes it functional. But he doesn't say anything about it, and then Periwinkle thinks like, "Oh yeah, I totally did it," and he's like acting like, "Yeah, you totally did it. That was you."
The fire that he builds puts our fire last time we were here absolutely to shame. Just like immediately he has this roaring bonfire, lights up the entire place, and it's like super warm.
He's got like little like a little like system for like roasting meats and stuff and all that kind of thing.
I think his best efforts are only reflected as being his best efforts in his head. I think he's so far out of practice at this point. It's obvious to everyone else who's looking on that his martial skills have greatly fallen into disuse. And although there's a vain attempt, it's almost as if he's an amateur at this point, sort of operating on a theatrical approach to his best laid defenses.
Hmm. The um, I guess it's mentioned. You know, he's got this roaring fire and sorting meats. I think just the fact that like on the way here, he just like managed to get some like fresh meats, like managed to scout out and actually hunt something, um, in the interim journey.
Let's check in on the sunken amphitheater. Did we do the PTS on that one last time? I can't remember.
I think so. We described the stage as Vos was orating,
Okay, all
and
right,
like
yeah,
things that had happened
yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, that's right. Okay, so then we'll do that. I will ask you this though: this little candle ritual that Gavrin did to keep out the rot gaunt works. Let's paint the scene. How do we know that Gavrin's magic is keeping the rot gaunts out?
I think that what had previously to the fires being lit seemed like an increasing level of movement in the shadows and shifting in the darkness. We could literally hear the crushing and gravelly screal of these things moving about. And I think now we just hear the echoes of the night, some of the flora and fauna, and there's a calmness that has settled over the amphitheater where we have more of the lightning bugs at play and the warm breeze and even maybe some moths flowing around. And there seems to be a stillness, perhaps something that is foreboding, but at the moment seems peaceful enough.
I guess as part of that maybe foreboding stillness in the area, I would suggest that that it is so still, and this is not maybe not even something that you can sort of realize in real time, but in the area of protection, it is like in this in the Mouldering Court, in this garden, in this swamp, in this place of flourishing life, nothing will grow while the protection remains, and therefore nothing will rot.
That's like we could see it in time lapse. That's what it'd be like, right? I love it.
There's a fox, like a mother fox, that like animals can kind of sense that something has changed about this place, and so she bounds into the light of the amphitheater with a kit in her mouth, drops it off, and then goes and retrieves another one, and is like moving her whole little like litter of kits to this place.
I think for Gavin, or for like everyone inside, but I think most so for Gavin, it kind of feels like being in a warm house while you can hear the wind howl outside. There's this feeling of being there, like a physical barrier. Like you could almost feel if you would step outside of this light into that darkness, it would be a different world in a sense almost. And I think Gavin feels that very faint, not the way it used to be, of course, but that connection to the old fire, trying as it may to break through with these regular fires.
That's fantastic. I'm going to pick up a little bit on that fox thing. I think that's great, and I think that's kind of how the scene is kind of progressing, right? Like we see that fox like bringing their kits inside the circle, but you might also see other things too, right? Like there might be a clutch of, I don't know if there are owls in swamps, but we're going to say there are owls, a clutch of owls that are like roosting, inside the amphitheater. And you might even see like non-giant little bugs, like that are normally preyed upon by the bigger bugs, like kind of like skittering through. You can kind of hear the little splashing in the water because it's kind of partially sunken as other little animals, no rabbits, other little animals kind of like patter through. And and also, a couple of non-rock gaunt people are here. Vos is here, obviously. Vos seems to like kind of live here on the stage, and you'll see Muck, the weird mushroom boy. He has shown up. Um, he's most amazed by the fact that the kind of pinging off what Alexander said. He's impressed by the fact that he actually can't hear the mushrooms here. They do not speak to him here, and there's something novel about that. He's a little uncomfortable by it even. And there's also an old woman who you have not met yet. She, let me find a description of her. She has stringy gray hair with bits of flower and fungus woven in, a very deeply curved posture. And I think when she sees one of you, she gives you a big wide smile with half the teeth missing, the left half. And she actually sets out like a bunch of like little tonics and things from her bags, almost like doing a business here. And that's kind of the scene that's going on for your make camp, Old Smoke and Gavin. It's very peaceful. And so the stage is kind of set here now, literally in this case. I do want to go back to Castle Breakin. We are going to do make camp. Let's go ahead and read that text. When you and any other number of embers settle down to rest, you can tell a pleasant story from the time of the old fire or engage in your ritual. If you do, clear an appropriate condition or unmark an appropriate aspect. So you can clear a condition or unmark an aspect. Then, as a group, you'll discover a clue for an active mystery, either the Whitewood or Moldering Court, or it could be for the question at Elegy. And then, so that's your group at Castle Breakin. This is a safe place to make camp in Castle Breakin. And I think I'm going to kick off the scene with Shelf. Can people generally, like, if they choose to appear, can people see the Legion members?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll tell you this: your little camp of four is quite suddenly a camp of six. There are two soldiers with similar looking vow plate as Shelf sitting on stone benches around the fire, flanking Shelf. And They speak really quietly to Shelf. Anyone can hear if you lean in, but they say, "Brother, we are ready to receive our names so that we can be released from our service, so that we can pass on to the next world. We linger too long here. Already, some have stayed behind on the funeral island and made great trouble.
I will be sorry to see you go. My brethren, Darren the Resolute."
Oh, you name him,
Yeah.
he says. "Thank you, brother." And he disappears. The other one says, "I'm in not so great a hurry. I am still happy to serve in whatever way you would have me serve. But just know that the Legion grows restless. But the Legion also knows of this throne of the hidden king. They hear it spoken of in the lands. If you were to reach the throne, you could give birth to the Legion again."
If I reach the throne, I could. I cannot even imagine it now. A member of the Nameless Legion.
But you would be nameless no
Cold.
more, don't you see?
The most recent name I've been given is Scoundrel, Bandit. It is not worthy of the throne.
You will find your name in time, and you will sit the throne of the hidden king, and you will speak your name aloud, and it shall spread across the world, and we shall unfurl a new banner.
Stay for now. Be gone.
And he just fades away. In the background, still here. So, Nazel, what are you doing?
Watching that very intently, but from far enough away that I didn't overhear it.
Okay, very well.
But I think I would prefer to go visit my tree
Okay.
before having any. I'm aiming for coming back after Denebray and Periwinkle have fallen asleep,
Okay,
so that I don't have to.
You can trigger the move
interact
whenever
with them.
you can make camp whenever you want.
Yeah.
As long as it's active, you can do it whenever. Let's talk about that then. So, what condition do we find Sir Kalen in?
A pathetic one. He's sagging, like he is just obviously just barely hanging on to life. She is disappointed when she walks into the clearing, and it shows immediately on her face. She's just, worthless man. And then she starts setting something up, and as she's working, she's talking to him, and she says, "You have been a dying ember for a long time. Aren't you grateful that I came to stoke your fire one last time?" And as she's doing this, she's taking the candelabra that she pulled off of Old Gore, and she's setting it up so that the guttering flames on it will burn away the skin on his hand.
Oh, great.
But she like unpinned his hand so it's hanging down, so she's not going to burn the tree. That's important.
He's just babbling in pain. He's in between his like babbling and he'll just kind of like, "Oh, why are you doing this to me? I know nothing. I hear nothing."
Well, we'll see.
Now, what are the different ways you can engage with him right now mechanically?
I can take a part of his body, or I can get a clue from him.
You can do
So-
both, right?
Well, each one marks a box, and he only has one, so I
Oh,
could
okay.
do
Oh,
both if he
he's
was less
he's.
pathetic.
I see. He's nearly dead. So yeah, it's real
He's nearly
bad.
dead.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So which one are you
Um,
doing then?
well, okay. So here's what I would like to do. It's going to take a long time for his skin and flesh to burn away because this is a very sad excuse for a candelabra, and that's intentional. So I'm going to let that happen and then kind of move it along so it's burning his arm. But once his bones are exposed on his hand, I would like to carve his knuckles into replacement teeth.
Oh, interesting. Which move of this is yours? Or
Uh,
which move of yours is this?
what I'm doing mechanically is I'm marking an aspect on the candelabra to clear a condition,
Oh,
which
okay.
has nothing to do with any of my moves.
Got it, got it, got it. You can definitely do
In
that.
terms
Yeah.
of the move, I want him to give me a clue
Okay,
while this is all
fantastic.
happening.
I love it. Fantastic. Do you have a preference for which mystery?
I well, I want to use it for the morning tower, but that's
I think that makes the most sense too, because that's where he was at, right?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll think on that. Okay, good. We'll check back in on this scene in a moment. Let's go back to the amphitheater. Now, at the amphitheater, whether you want to or not, the two of you are also in make camp, and it works the same. You tell your story, or you do your ritual. You get to clear a condition or unmark an aspect, and you also get to define a clue as well. But if you're in a dangerous place, I will ask one of you what you're afraid could happen if you let your guard down. Now, bear in mind that the rot gaunts can't enter the space, but there could be other dangers that could happen, right? They can even be lower stakes dangers. And so with I'll start with Gavrin. What are you afraid could happen right now if you let your guard down?
I think someone in this space, whether that's a person or like one of the animals that have entered, is like so taken by the fire and like the safety that it brings that they're gonna knock it over and set a whole bunch of things on fire.
Oh, interesting. An accidental fire.
Yeah.
Okay, that's intriguing. Now, the move now says, after that ember speaks, the keeper will ask the same question of another ember. That ember must say something different or build on the answer of the first ember. And so you're the only other one there, Old Smoke. And so I'll ask you, Old Smoke, what are you afraid? What are you afraid could happen if you let your guard down? You can either build on this fire thing, or you can come up with something totally new.
I think I'll build on the fire, but from a slightly different direction. I'm not afraid it'll be knocked over, but I'm afraid it'll attract the wrong attention. So while it's keeping the rock gaunts away, it may indeed bring some of the more powerful creatures, denizens, or perhaps even the lady herself from the bouldering court.
Interesting, interesting. Now, I'll do that until every ember has had a chance to answer. They always build or do something new. But in this case, there's only two of you on the make camp, so we'll stop there. And then I will say how it's worse than all that. And then the ember with the lowest cinder rolls with cinder. And so, how is it worse than this? How it's worse than that is indeed the thing drawn by the fire is powerful, and you'll be engaging in a struggle. And so, who has the lowest cinder score between the two of you? That's Old Smoke. Old Smoke, please roll cinder.
Double sixes.
Ah, double sixes. That's good. Okay,
I
very
have
good.
I have a -2, so it's 10 for me.
That's a 10. The rest period passes without incident. Congratulations. But we get to have the scene still. So, Gavin, what are you doing right now?
I think Gavin has crouched beside this fox and is kind of stroking her head and just gently says, "You poor thing, how long you have longed for the light, cast aside in the dark. Don't worry. Soon it will burn bright enough for everyone to see." And then I will stand up, leave the little fox, and I'll go see what this lady is up to.
Is it possible you might have learned something from the fox?
Is it possible that I have learned something from the fox?
Roll the information with move with Cinder and see.
Absolutely. I do think it's possible because that's a 10.
Nice. I'll give you a clue in addition to anything else we're going to do here. We can go talk to the old lady. Her name is Granny Lou, and she gives you that big half smile as you approach. And she says, I've got tinctures, ointments, decoctions, teas, anything you want, anything to make you feel better. Come on then.
I'm afraid I feel quite fine. Do you have many customers here?
Well, well, no, I suppose I don't. But old habits die hard.
Well, one must do something to pass the time. You make all these yourself from, and I kind of like look around, even though I think we can only see the light. But I'm kind of indicating like from all the rotting things that are here.
I think she begins like to give you a speech about like how if you know where to look, you can find all kinds of helpful roots and leaves and branches and da 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 da. But then she stops at one point and she gets up and she marches right to you and she kind of stares at your breastbone and she says, "Ha! You're an ember.
Yes, indeed.
I
So
can
they do like
see
the
the old fire burning in your chest."
faint, perhaps, but yes.
So I suppose you're seeking the throne of the hidden king like all the other embers, eh?
For now, yes. I do think that would be the most prudent path. We cannot leave the world as it is now. Something must change.
You embers are fools for seeking the throne of the hidden king. We don't need no fires, neither old nor new. We like things quite as they are, free of people who don't know any better than to call you an old bog witch, the simpletons. This is better. All of this is better. Better to be alone, we say.
And yet you came here, where the light is bright.
Alone in a general sense.
Yes, I do think there will still be plenty of that when the light shines bright again.
Oh, the light, the fire, there's nothing to save, don't you see? This is all pointless, man. All of it.
I think Gavrin's expression grows very cold at that. Well, with that, ma'am, I disagree.
Perhaps. But do you at least acknowledge that we might have slightly different experiences? You have spent the last few centuries in your grave. I have spent the last few centuries roaming the lands remaining, gathering my leaves and roots,
I know.
my resins,
That is why I must go.
my ichors.
I have failed all of these people once.
Oh,
I cannot give up now and
bother,
feel them
bother,
intense.
bother, bother. Why do you don't? Oh, the old fire. If only we could rekindle the old fire. Blah, blah, blah. I was there when the old fire went out. I was there. I was the first person to see the dimning cresting over the hill. I've heard it all.
Do you have something for that?
And she kind of like wanders off. She's kind of bored of you. Goes back to her little, not very busy stall that she's makeshift made up. Let's check in on
Yeah.
Old Smoke. Old Smoke, what are you doing right now?
I'm assuming I will have overheard this.
You can have, yeah. It's up to you.
Old Smoke's been wandering around, it sounds like as long as she has. Would we have crossed paths before?
Possibly, yeah. If you like the idea of that, I'm open to it. You would, well, you were hidden for a long time. So you didn't travel too much around, not like her. She never died, is the thing. She's just kept on living. So that's her deal.
I kind of imagine Old Smoke, although I have this sort of pocket dimension that I go into and sort of sleep in, uh, that any time that there is a new awakening of embers, I'm out about looking for them,
I kind
trying
of
to.
like that. Yeah, yeah.
So I think I would have had an action, to or an opportunity rather to interact with her.
Yeah, I like that. I think you can find her, and or she'll kind of see you, and she'll say, "Ah, I recognize you from the back."
Some of us have not come for the old fire, and
You're very
some of us
smart.
share many of the same years together, grandmother.
Yes, yes. You know, I've run into you a number of times, face down, asleep.
And you keep trying to sell me the same useless tinctures.
You laid on the shores of the fog-shrouded sea, waiting for someone to take you to Elegy for damn near 10 years.
You should know better that decades mean nothing to us.
That is true. That is true. They do not.
The
Did you ever
cream
make it to Elegy?
that you sold me did nothing for my skin.
Yes. Perhaps she kind of looks a little bit behind your bindings. Maybe don't tell anyone that, eh? I have a reputation to maintain.
Secret.
What do you say?
It'll be our little secret.
Yes, yes. So did you ever make it to Elegy then?
I did.
No. Did you find everything you were looking for?
I'll point to Gavin.
One can only hope.
Well, don't take this the wrong way, but methinks you're not going to make it to the throne of the Hidden King.
It's never been my intention, as you know, grandmother.
Oh, that's right, that's right. You're the Dimning Hunter.
Indeed.
Oh, yes, yes. You're gonna go to the very heart of the all-consuming darkness and do what? Plunge your dagger into it? Send it scurrying back like a rat in a cellar when he sees a torchlight?
It might undo your hope that you boil into little bottles to sell to the hopeless, that someone might want to undo the shadow and darkness that the dimning has wrought. But I feel that at least the years that have piled upon you as burdens would be somewhat relieved when the dimning is gone.
Well, as you know, I disagree. I happen to like the way things are. I don't like people, and the dimning reduced the number of people greatly. But even if I did believe in your little quest, I think it's just as likely that you fall asleep here in the bog for another 50 years. Face down, no doubt.
Perhaps you can help us.
I doubt it. And she goes back to her stall. Let's keep going. Let's check in on Shelf because I owe you a Lord clue, Shelf. So Denebray will. I think Denebray will have pointed something out to you on your journey. Like you were kind of on the road for a couple of hours, and he will have pointed out something to you that is a Lord clue. Now, keep in mind that this is kind of an above the table thing right now. The Embers don't really know about the Lord question or the Lord clues. We do as players, but the thing that gets pointed out, you found a weathered milestone pointing toward the lost Fey city of Liralen, though there was no road in that direction. But it was an odd thing. Of course, the ancient Fey city of Liralen disappeared with Noxiliax. We know that as players, if the Embers aren't totally aware of it yet. But here was a milestone that seemed to at least ostensibly point in a direction toward it, even though there's no road. That is your Lord clue. Denebray says, so many things were taken away by the dimning, and it seems the very roads were hidden by the darkness as well. I myself passed through Lurlen once, when I was a young squire, when I was known as Denebray the Cub. Yes, a fine city, a fine people, the Fae. You can still see faint traces of their beauty in the rot gaunts remaining at the mouldering court. Some, he says, looking to Periwinkle, with much more of the beauty remaining than others.
Yes, in our duel earlier, I do apologize on behalf of the member of the Waxen Order who interfered, attempted to interfere. I think that he does not yet understand the only way to truly know a man is to draw his blood.
An interesting theory, to be sure. But I thank you for your chivalry. Now, I must go to bed. I regret deeply that I shall be going into my tent alone this night. But tomorrow is another day. I bid you all good night. Where did the druid go? No matter. She is rather difficult. And he goes to bed. We do need to get the move triggered here. Shelf, do you want to do your ritual, or in order to trigger the move for you?
Yes, I think Shelf will. I think Shelf will just sort of will watch, actually, kind of like for a long while Denebray like goes off, and when when he looks to like Periwinkle, he says, you may return to quarters tent. Yes, I will remain outside and keep watch for Miss Nicelle's return.
I'm going to tee up something that he can write about when I get back if he wants to do his ritual that way.
Oh, okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, Wilson Nicelle, wrap up with Sir Kalen then. What happens?
Yeah, sitting at the base of the tree, I had previously discarded all of his armor there, so I'm using the light from the fire and like his breastplate to like check out my new teeth to make sure that I've like lined them up properly. They're a little sharper than the ones that I had previously, and then I think like his dying words are something that he's like recalled from the Morning Tower. So I'll get some clue.
Yeah, let me
there.
get your clue there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, his dying words, that's pretty good. I think. Actually, I'm going to say it's not his dying words at all. You find something that he had on his person. Now, I can't remember if it was your group or the other group. Oh, I don't think you have this one. You don't have the lantern that burns with a pale violet flame, even without oil, do you?
No.
So
Do
that is a
now.
clue. That's a clue that's also a piece of equipment. So you get,
Ooh.
it has an aspect, burns with a pale violet flame, even without oil. You find that on his person. Indeed, you might see it. You might see the purple glow, right?
Fabulous.
Poor Sir Kalen, his ember has grown fully cold.
And without any show of remorse at all, she's going to retrieve her nails and vines, because I care about those, leaving him to just sag down from the tree onto the ground, and I'll leave him there.
What happens
Next to
when
his
someone
pile of
dies?
armor. I mark a stigma box.
So you have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 9 stigma boxes,
Yeah.
and now
This
one
is
is
the
marked.
first thing I've done all campaign that deserves stigma.
You have it. I think I can make you mark it too for different reasons.
Yeah.
I probably should have had you mark it when you killed Durellen. but well, maybe we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that situation resolves itself in the end. Okay, good. Well, so why don't we wrap up this scene with Shelf then? So what do you do? What happens when you go back?
I'll walk in and be like, "Oh, you're still awake." Shelf, do you remember dying? You're muted.
You're muted, Alexander. Also, the answer is no. You can't talk about that. So
But yeah, Shelf will say, it may be written somewhere in these annals, some last words, perhaps, but I've not found them.
But you woke in a tomb, like the rest of us.
Yes.
Here's something for your book you were interested in writing down previously. My people don't bury bodies when they die. We leave them to the woods. We leave them to the animals. And once nature has taken back the things that it wants, then it's peaceful. I visited the corpse of my mentor after she died, and what bones remained had grown over with moss and wildflowers. That is beautiful. And where I woke, someone had to put me in a tomb.
There is something. There is something longing. The way that you speak of it is beautiful. I did awake in a tomb, and like you, someone must have put me there. But a part of me wishes that I could have been interred in the world, in nature, become one with it, as I am sure many of my brethren did in their long, thankless watch over the fog-shrouded sea. If I am to perish again before reaching the throne, would you do me the honor of seeing that I am interred in this way?
It would be my pleasure.
You have earned yourself a chapter in the annals.
very good. Shelf, are you unmarking an aspect or clearing a condition?
Uh, uh, t- I kind of want to. I think I kind of prefer to unmark an aspect. The I think if it makes sense for in the earlier conversation with Sir Denebray, I don't know, kind of like bringing up like the like dueling being the way to know someone, that I'd unmark an aspect of name taker, I think.
Love it. Sure. That makes sense to me. And Nizel, yours was the teeth thing, right?
No, that was independent of the make camp. I
Oh,
marked an
okay.
aspect to clear that condition. I would like
Oh, got
to,
it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
yeah, I would like to unmark on my heartwood nails you to purify the dead.
Okay. Yeah. We saw that happen because you took them all back, right? Yeah. So that's good. I will take that. Did you share a story?
Stretching the definition of pleasant, but yes.
Fair enough. Indeed, indeed. Let's check in with Gavrin and Old Smoke to make sure you all get the benefit of the move as well. Shelf and Nizel, if you'll think of your clue that you find between sessions, that would be great. Gavrin and Old Smoke. Gavrin, what do you do to get the benefits of the move here?
Um, I think after that little interaction, um, I think I will go to Old Smoke and ask if he, before all this, has ever been to the theater. I think like kind of just like watching maybe Vos. I know I can
Vos.
Vos. Yeah, like watching him like sort of maybe practice or do like very theatrical movements and sort of watching him. I think I'll ask Old Smoke if he's ever been to the theater before all this.
Yes, I have been to theater before this.
Did you like it?
It was always as part of my duty that I attended. I do not understand the point of pretending unless there is purpose.
Well, it's not just pretending, is it? It's a story. There's much to be found in a story. I will admit, and I'll lean in a little bit closer. I'm a bit of a crier when it comes to things like this. My there's a soft smile, and then I kind of like come back to myself. My mentor, Rivane, used to make fun of it for me. He picked all these romantic plays to watch, and then inevitably act two, big fight, very dramatic stabbings, all that sort of thing, and without a word, handkerchief just waving corner of my eyes, and I'd try very hard, promise myself every time, not this time, not this time, he won't get me this time, but he always did.
The discipline of my order worked very hard to make sure that nothing could manipulate our emotions, and such frippery as stories and theater are just that, manipulative, unless there is some other element to them. I find them distracting.
Well then,
Although I do appreciate the shadows created by the lighting in the amphitheater.
I never paid attention to those. And I think we will see Gavrin like sort of shift his eyes to the shadows, starting to pay attention to them.
It is your special gift, Gavrin, for there can be no shadow without light. It seems that we may be the perfect pairing.
Well, let's not say that too loud. I don't want to jewel anyone. I
Those,
don't think I'd be as good at it as you or Shelf.
those who are listening have already heard us.
Sorry, say that again.
Those who are listening have already heard us.
I think that's a cool line to end the scene on.
I agree. So let's talk about clearing conditions, unmarking aspects. Who wants to make the case here, Gavrin?
I keep forgetting you can also unmark aspects.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see. I will. Well, I only have one aspect mark. To light the way in the dark places of the world. I think that's kind of what I did with the whole amphitheater thing. So that sounds
I love it.
valid.
Old Smoke, would you like to clear a condition or unmark an aspect?
I only have the one condition, and I kind of want to keep it. It's
It's a
the
good story condition, isn't it? Yeah.
I like it. So I think of clearing an aspect. One of my mouse in the tower. I'm going to do the no blade could break given my battle with what's her name?
Lady Verdanth. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, thanks.
Very good. If the two of you will also think of your clue that you're going to find in between sessions, that would be great. But I think that is where we will end for today. Let's go to end of session real quickly. All right. Let's take a look at our XP here. Unless somebody has a move that triggers at the end, but I don't think anyone does. All right, I'm gonna go in the order of the sheet. Shelf. Okay, we have not resolved a mystery yet. Shelf, did you roll with Cinder?
I did not.
Did you hear the echo of the Legion in your deeds or words? The literal echo of the Legion, I think, when you talk to them.
Yes, and I echoed, aspects of our creed back to them. So
Indeed, you did. Yeah, go ahead and mark an XP there. Did you glimpse the person you once were or the name you might yet take? I think so. Again, that same conversation, right? I think that.
yeah, yeah, it's like Sir Denebray called me a scoundrel, a bandit.
Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. You picked up 2 XP. Let's go to Old Smoke. Old Smoke, did you roll a Cinder today?
I did actually with our scene there,
Oh, the make camp. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
double sixes, so I can't forget that too quickly.
Yeah, go ahead and mark an XP there. Did you deliver an embittered monologue about the Dimning?
I think I kind of did in a couple of circumstances
Yeah,
to
I
the
remember. You talked about the Dimning a lot today.
I
Uh,
did.
did you actually the embittered monologue about the Dimning was mostly from Granny Lou as well. She oh no, although no, she loves the Dimning. She's embittered for other reasons. Let's go to. Did you demonstrate your amazing physical talents to someone else's wonder and astonishment? Probably Lady Verdanth, right?
It was in Lady Verdant because if she had died, then I wouldn't be able to get this one. But I
Yeah,
think that my releasing her kind of gives it to me.
gives it to yeah when you released her definitely. Nazelle, let's see here. Did you roll a cinder?
No.
Okay. Did you demonstrate reverence for root, stone, or soil over law, crown, or creed?
I believe so. My
Yeah,
enduring disdain for knights.
yeah, I remember that. Did you spill blood in a way that caused the land to respond? You did.
I don't. Oh, yeah?
Well, yeah, because you kind of did it in the fiction, like you kind of did the whole like bury the blood in the ground or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, that's
I
what I was
like that.
aiming for. I
Yeah, I kind
wasn't
of
sure if
liked
I'd
it.
quite got
It's
there.
kind
Okay, cool.
of it's in the spirit of it to me.
Yeah, cool.
Gavin the Everlit, did you roll a cinder?
Yes, I did.
Let's see your other questions here. Did you deliver a trembling monologue about the dying of the light? You did with Granny Lou.
Absolutely.
Did you share your fire with another? Yes, you did. We did good on XP today. Fantastic. And I think let's see, I'll remind Shelf that you have to do a narration at the top of the session next time. Or I assume. Did you mark Old Fire or
yes,
you
old
did? Yeah.
fire.
So you owe us an Old Fire, and everybody owes some clues to create as well.
I'm also owed a clue from the fox, or like whatever the
Oh, that's right.
information move
That's
did
right.
there.
That's right. Okay, well, we're noting it here. I'll review this for before next week. Stars and wishes.
I thought that like Old Smoke, knowing Granny Lou was great. I think it's interesting the opportunity for the Lock and Key to be sort of wiser of the world and have these like rare pre-existing relationships. I thought that was played in a fun way. Um, the I liked When we did the I want to start like when we did the journey narration, and whenever we do any sort of like paint the scene or narrations of this type, like where we'll go around, I love when we can find opportunities to like sort of like build off of or like sort of narrate something that's like thematically appropriate to someone else's answer. And so I did really like Alina when we did the journey description, and I did the thing of like, oh, the knights fear being forgotten, and then you had the Malgaunts speaking in like the names of people that they knew or remembered, and so there was this kind of like implication of like, oh, they will be forgotten, but except by the Malgaunts. The Malgaunts are the only ones who will remember them. And I don't know, just that implication was really good. Uh, I also liked like even though Shelf and Gavrin didn't directly interact much during the session, I like that we had something going with like each of them like talking about the duels and like Gavrin sort of saying like, oh, we don't have to, hopefully we don't have to worry about someone coming after coming after us for what we're saying or coming after us for a duel. The and I guess yeah, I guess to this is kind of to Jason. I think I've gotten a failure on almost every investigation investigation role of the entire game. Of the entire game. But it always I've never wanted to mark an old fire for those roles because I'm always like, okay, this will lead to some interesting complication. This will lead to some interesting challenge. And I think that's always been the case. You've always provided some sort of interesting wrinkle, especially here. That kind of like if it felt like the duel kind of defined the session. Or set up how it was going to play out, and that was excellent. That was great. I am interested. So for an actual wish, I am interested to maybe see like what a struggle feels like when not everyone is there. I think that's interesting. Partly because I like from especially when I think about it from a GM perspective, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. I guess not to say that I'm like that I'm like wanting to like be sort of like questioning the design. I'm just like curious how it will work or how it will feel in play. To have that scene where yeah, or how it will work out pacing wise. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, Star, I mean, a very fun session, great all around. For Jason, Star for the word pomposity. I'm very glad that it's been spoken in the world. Also for Sir Denebray in general, I think you strike a really interesting balance between like making him sort of like this pompous ass that's like doing all these things, but then I think you always resist the urge to go like too one-dimensional in that, and then you always do pull it back. Like, but him like reacting like very chivalrous, like after being defeated and being like, okay, well, you won, so that's that. And then after that, like he is actually a very like martially gifted person and he does actually know how to do these things. And that makes it to me so much more interesting than if he's just an asshat, like that can be fun, but there's like
He's
not
an
much
ember,
to,
right? I mean,
yeah, and there's, yeah, and I think like if it's just like that, there's not much to interact with because it's like, okay, he sucks. But I think like this gives like a more complex and like very interesting character to interact with. And I love to hate him. Like I think he's the worst and that makes him the best. Um yeah, so star for that. Also star for Granny Lou. It's just very funny to have these very like Shakespearean theatrical characters just like monologuing their way through life, and then this old lady be like, yada, 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 whatever. You gotta buy something or not. Just very funny to have that contrast. And yeah, and to have these people that are like, well, buddy, I lived through it. I'm gonna be fine. Like, don't be making a fuss. Like, I need you to just be quiet. That was
She's
great.
here for the dimning. She loves it. Like, come
She
on. Like,
loves it. I love that for her. No, that was really, really fun. Um, for Nazelle, I think I've said it before, but I just love this running theme of Nazelle being so like offended that people are offended by her murder. It's like, old smoke, you actually want me to murder people? It's so weird. Like, nobody says that to me. Like, nobody is encouraging me to murder people, and that's so rude of them. It's just a very funny character trait, and also like very horrifying. And I think you as well do like good in having this horrible side, but then also having like enough other things going on to interact with and to make her a full character. For Old Smoke. Yeah, I love Old Smoke being so dramatic. Like I never, it's just like I never watch it play. It's just distraction. I'm too cool for that. Like it's just like okay, 1% less, my man. It's just great. I love this continued villain arc. And I did love that you let Lady Verthan go for the story. I think that's very, very interesting. That's also a wish. I want to see what happens there. And Alexander, yeah, I love that even though Gavin and Shelf like didn't interact much, there was still like that the disappointment and then Shelf being like, I don't think that Gavin gets it. Like that going on. And I think every periwinkle and Shelf interaction was absolute gold. And you just like immediately like going like I guess this is the storyline that we're going with now, and like leaning into it was very great. And that conversation with the Legion member was top tier. Which is, yeah, I want to see what happens with Lady Verdant. Um, I am very interested to see like how it works now that we're split up, how that's going to affect the dynamics, how like that's gonna affect just yeah how the game works and how the relationships of these characters work. Uh, I feel like at this moment Gavin is very isolated. Like everyone has like something that they're like I don't know about this Gavin guy. So I'm very interested to see if we're like pushing in that direction or if it's gonna switch. And very, I hope we can do Moldering Court next session.
Similarly to something Alexander said, not just with the flashback thing, but in I think like all of our paint the scenes, I think the whole group did a really great job of like tying them together and like working them into the scene that followed and everything. So those really felt like they fleshed out the world in a really cool way. I loved the absolute lack of camaraderie in Old Smoke and Gavin. There was no chemistry there, and we leaned into it, and I loved that. Yeah, and then I also thought it was really fascinating just watching the continued interactions between Denebray and Shelf. There were like several of them, and they kind of like the tone shifted a little bit between each of those scenes, and that was really fun to watch. I don't know if I have wishes. I'm gonna pick up a new move with this advancement. So maybe wish that I get to I don't know slaughter someone in a fun way next session. We'll see.
I'm going to say stars for all of the amazing role play. Jason, your cast of NPCs, amazing as usual. I also love the fastball and strategic thinking that you threw to us. That kind of threw narrative planning into a bit of a tizzy. That was great. But I really felt this session, and maybe because it's session 5 for us, that as characters we had an opportunity to kind of marinate a bit in our inner monologue projected outward, whether it was to NPCs or each other, in a way we haven't had the chance before, maybe because it wasn't as a high pressure action. And so it was everyone's scenes were really sort of like gripping and amazing, even though they might have been intimate, or the boldness of the duel, and there were this wonderful sort of back and forth I felt in these intimate little moments to these more martial moments, to the edge of the seat moments. I was hooked. It was a great session. So yeah, really stars to everybody for that. So many little aspects that yeah, they were just great. So thank you for that.
Throw in one more thing, because at the beginning of the session, we were like, oh, maybe we can collect some clues and solve the Moldering Court. And then Jason immediately threw us into 3 separate combats. You are not
I was
investigating.
like, there is no way we are gonna solve the murdering court of the Moldering Court. I was like, I've played
no,
CFB before. There is
I knew that already.
no way
I knew that already. I was like, there's no way. I was like, they're not going to do that.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so optimistic, you sweet summer children.
I have a loose idea of how the current clues that we have, how to put them all together. So
I mean, the
we'll-
thing is, you could have though, right? Like even with like just 6 or even 5 clues, you all could have marked aspects, right? You could have marked aspects if you really wanted to push it. You could have done that, right? But I think this was the story that needed to happen. So, I'll echo a second a lot of the role playing stars that everyone said about everybody. I had such a wonderful time, and I loved this session. This session was very what is it about this session that I love so much? It was a lot of like, it was a very social session, which is great. A lot of interactions between the embers, which is great. I know when I have NPCs going that we're going to have like, for me at least, because I'm role playing, I'll be having fun scenes. But it was fun to see all of you like kind of really like, and not just like casual interactions, like really like deep stuff, which I thought was great. So I really, really enjoyed that. Everyone really killed it with Castle Bragan, with all the paint the scenes that I threw at you all. Everyone just really, really nailed it. It was so great. And this is not a star, but since this is a playtest, I'm thinking a lot about the game as a system and kind of how it works. And I have to say, I was today in particular, it was really noteworthy in my mind that Carve from Brindlewood is really good at fantasy, right? Like it does something in fantasy that is even different than the mystery games, right? Or the other games, because in a fantasy game you need that rich ornamental detail, and like paint the scene and all the other little bits of tech, like do that, right? And you want that, and you want history, and you want lore, and you want all that ornamentation that comes with a fantasy setting that's distinct from other types of settings. Maybe the only other setting that's kind of like that is like maybe a sci-fi setting, but you want this like kind of very rich ornamental world, and you get that. CFB kind of gives you that inherently in its procedures. And so I'm very, very pleased with that. But then I shouldn't be surprised, because I developed all of these techniques when I was running Dungeon World to make Dungeon World better. And so it should not be it's not a surprise to me. It's just been years since I've like dealt with it in this context, right? But like I created all this stuff like on some level when I was running Dungeon World, because I thought Dungeon World needed a lot. And so I kind of came up with paint the scene and other things at that time, even the way we do make camp, right? And so, but I'm just very happy. All that's just to say that I'm the play test, I'm very pleased with how this is going. I'm very, very pleased with the, like, this session, especially everything. It felt both intimate and social, almost like a court crawl. It had a very like intimate feel, but there was still plenty of action, and it still felt like epic fantasy. Like the journey helped it feel that way, right? And so, and the flashbacks help it feel that way. So that I'm just very pleased with all that. Design goals checked. And my only wish is I would like to see the Nameless Legion come into play more, on a mechanical level. So that would be a thing I would ask for. I am also anxious for you all to open the Morning Tower so we can start doing Morning Tower stuff. And I'm excited to see how. I do think you're going to get the Moldering Court resolved next time, so I'll be excited to see how that goes. So.
Careful what you wish for, Jason, because I could just come in here and do like 5 journeys next
You
time.
could, you
I'm
could,
like,
you could, you could, you
gonna
could,
go to
you
the
could
Morning
like
Tower.
go to the Whitewood and then just immediately leave and go to Elegy.
Right, and then go to whatever the next
Yeah.
best tree is, and then I'll come back to the Moldering Court. I'll
Yeah,
be
you totally
crucifying
could.
people everywhere.
Yep, you totally could. All right, awesome. Anybody have anything else? All right, then I'm going to wave goodbye to everybody watching the video. Goodbye, everybody watching the video.